And then elsewhere in Durban, as you can see, these live pictures coming through to us now. Yes, that green bus we've come to know rather well, and I suppose the Springboks have come to know them very well as well. The sounds of the revving bus outside the hotel probably is a sign to them, yes, you're going again. And they're going again today in Durban. And these pictures being brought to you by our team there, who will be following the progress of the famous back-to-back winning World Cup champions who were taking that Webb Ellis Cup to the people. And today it is Durban's chance. These pictures, I believe, coming to us from Umhlanga, are one of their first stops as they snake their way through the streets of Durban and its surrounding areas.
Well, Masalda Springboks team, the 2023 Rugby World Cup winning Springboks have arrived in Durban. They are touching down, and right in front of the bus is a Sharks player in Bonyimbo Nambi. You would remember that Bonyimbo Nambi had to come off in that match in the first 5 minutes after he was injured. He's got a knee brace on, but decided that he has to be a part of this trophy tour with his colleagues and with the men that he's gone on to war with to win a fourth William Webb Ellis Trophy for South Africa. The Springboks moving now into the Garden Court Hotel, Marcel, where there's absolute pandemonium. Police are actually moving us back so that we can actually make way for the Springboks because of the amount of people that are actually here. Can I just get my mic? Open the way. 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 Trying to move back. Open the way. Open the way. Don't push.
From Durban, obviously everybody hustling and bustling about trying to get into position, be in the best possible place to spot their favourite Springbok and indeed the Webb Ellis Cup. Morena, we've covered the trophy tours, me in 2019, you did that as well as just a few days ago in Gauteng. It's quite a hectic operation, isn't it?
It is a hectic operation indeed. In fact, I was right where Ntsako is 4 years ago, eMhlanga, doing the exact same thing that Ntsako was doing, having to explain to authorities that I am media, I am no threat, not to you or the world champions. I just want to make sure that I give South Africans who do not have the pleasure of being where I am right now a clear, crisp picture of their World Cup winners. So there is Ntsako, of course, as you can see in our picture, just making sure that he gets nicely in front, within shot, to, if he can, doorstop one of the players and just try and get a feel of how they're feeling. And I suppose maybe just try to get an idea of, just the atmosphere within the team with their captain not there. But I'm pretty sure, Siya Kolisi not being there as he attends to family matters should not dampen the spirits of the guys who are continuing with the trophy tour itself. Bonyimbo Nambi, as Ntsako did mention, he's now taking on obviously the reins as the captain at the moment. He is one of the leaders in the team. And of course, he's the leader in Durban, especially.
Absolutely. And one of the big characters of that team, not just during the World Cup, Cup before that as well. And Siya Kolisi himself has repeatedly spoken about the leadership team within the squad, that he's the type of the leader that surrounds himself with other leadership type characters. And that indeed will be the case as part of the trophy tour. I mean, he's been front and center, hanging off the tops of buses the last couple of days. And now it's the turn for somebody else to do so. He's off, by the way, at a family wedding.
He certainly is.
And don't ask me how I know this, but I do not just read hard news stories. But his brother-in-law is getting married to gold medal swimmer Tatiana Skuman.
That's
and I
true.
believe that is the family wedding that he's attending today.
That is true. And I was actually saying a little earlier on that before the World Cup, this wedding date had been set. So he was not going to, disappoint the family on this one. Yes, I've won the Rugby World Cup. I've made the country proud. I need to be walking the streets of South Africans and greeting the people that supported me. But I do have a family that also need my love as well.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to give it to them on especially what a momentous day for the family.
And before everything else, he is a dad and he's a father. And you put yourself with that position and want to say, listen, guys, I won't be able to come to this very important family wedding. I need to go and carry this cup around the country.
No, most definitely. The only other person I think that historically would have done something like that is Jomo Sono, because Jomo Sono is known for having ditched his own wedding to go help Orlando Pirates win a match. So Siya Kolisi was like, listen, I'm not Jomo Sono. I'm going to take some time off to spend some time with my family, show some support to Tatiana Skuman and her husband, soon to be now husband, of course, today. But tomorrow is the Eastern Cape. The Eastern Cape is what is now dubbed the home of rugby. It is also the home of our Springbok captain. You can almost expect him to make sure that he's going to be there in East London. But yes, what you're seeing there is visuals coming from our team down on the ground, where Ntsako, of course, is as well. You've been seeing Ntsako in your picture, trying to get that eNCA microphone in just to get a word from the guys. But we definitely will be getting a word.
Ox is carrying cake.
Because why? Cakes do not win scrum halves, and most importantly, cakes do not lose World Cups.
Salads don't win scrums.
Salads don't win scrums. Cakes do, and cakes
do.
win World Cups. But yes, you've seen Ox and Chair, that man that was incredibly momentous for South Africa in the semi-final against England. You also saw Magazole Mapimpi there. He's the man that SA Rugby has offered us in the press conference that's going to be coming up just after lunchtime. So they've said that it might be a little delayed given just how long it'll take for the bus to move through the streets of Durban, but the press conference should be coming at around 1 o'clock. That's where Percival Young and Ntsako Mkhari will be, and we will be having there, among others, Magazole Mapimpi, who will be speaking to the media. So yes, the boys are coming off that bus that they've travelled from King Shaka International Airport on, and they're going to be heading on over to the open-top bus, where, of course, they'll be brandishing the William Webb Ellis Trophy to the people of Durban, who some of them, Marcel, have been chilling at Garden Court in Mhlanga since 4 o'clock this morning.
And indeed, Ntsako spoke to a couple who booked into the hotel last night just so they could be in the best possible position. I heard a story, you were at the airport, about a woman who booked a flight from Italy just so that she could arrive in South Africa at the same time as the Boks and be on the other side of the barriers to get a better chance of perhaps getting that picture or getting to meet them.
This woman emptied out her savings. She's a South African.
Maybe not a savings. A flight from Rome is not that expensive.
Marcel, we don't know just how healthy her savings were.
That's true.
So she says apparently it's the word that she, dipped into her savings to make sure she books a flight from Rome. She's South African. And of course, that's where we are. Damien Willemse.
Cape Town yesterday, and we're looking forward to this time in Durban.
And you say, "Hulle weet nie wat ons weet nie." Just tell me, what does that mean?
I think just the South African spirit. I think, obviously, how we pulled it through with those quarter-final, semi-final games, coming out on top by 1 point. When everyone goes out, down and out, and we'll fight back and we'll do it.
Thank you, guys.
Webb Ellis Cup on Saturday night, and he's appeared at the trophy tour with that very same kit, as dirty as it was, and has caused quite a stir. And he's partied like the country wants to party this week, hasn't he?
That is
all
not
25 years of him.
That is not the only thing that he's been going viral for since that World Cup trophy. We saw a video of him across a table in a tattoo parlor.
No, it wasn't a tattoo. Get it right, Morena. They got one of the top tattoo artists, a few of them from here in Johannesburg, to come to the team hotel there at the airport. And quite a few of them got a tattoo on various parts of their body.
Yes.
Damien's, however, is the one that has caused quite a stir across the world because he decided to get his tattoo of the Webb Ellis Cup with 2019 and 2023 on his derriere.
Yes, on his World Cup winning derriere. But yes, he certainly has been a rock star, has Damien Willems, and deservedly so. Not a lot of 25-year-olds can ever say that they've won a World Cup trophy twice and that they are essentially have etched their names in history. When I was 25, I didn't know where my life was going, backwards or forwards. His is 25 double World Cup winning champion.
And quite a telling South African story as well. And he posted a video on social media speaking specifically to the primary school where he started his rugby career. And it's a primary school that I know well because it's from the same community where they do not have playing fields, but they have a very rich and long history in loving rugby in that community. And he had a great coach at that primary school, and that's where his love of rugby, that's where it found its roots. And he sent a message to that primary school just this past week with his rugby winning medal. And I'm sure that'll be quite an inspiration to so many of that kids. And that was before he got a scholarship to go to one of the top rugby schools, as so many of our players are able to do. And the rest, as they say, is history.
Most definitely. There in your picture, of course, is the assistant coach, that being Umzwandile Stick, holding that trophy that you've seen for much of this week in the hands of Siya Kolisi. We must remind you, if you're just tuning in, that Siya Kolisi is not part of this leg of the trophy tour. He has got a family commitment, a wedding that he must attend, of course, the wedding of another champion, that being Tatiana Schoonmaker. Of course, his brother-in-law is getting married to Tatiana Schoonmaker, so he's attending to that today. But we can expect him, I would hope at least, that tomorrow he will be on that bus in East London as they complete the trophy tour. Tomorrow is the last leg. They're going to be in East London. They're going to be in Eastern Cape, where it is dubbed the home of rugby. Also in that picture is Oxen Shed, a man who is not about salads, but all about cakes. And of course, that very beautiful golden drink in his hand. Elizabeth there in picture. And what a beautiful moment he had, of course, with Siya Dlamini, who himself got to meet him. He was taken from here in Joburg, flown down to Cape Town to go meet his hero. And what an emotional moment that was, a beautiful moment, which speaks, I think, Marcel, to the culture of the Springboks. They are the nation's team.
You know, I teared up watching that video, and I was trying to think why. And I realized that within my lifetime, there was a time where a boy called Siya Dlamini from Mpumalanga would never in our wildest dreams run up to a man called Ibn Etzebeth and give him the biggest bear hug and have that hug returned to him. And we have lived to see the day where that is not just, it's not a surprise, it's actually expected, and it's part of who we are now. That this boy went on social media, somebody shared his joy and his angst like all of us, and it resulted in him being able to meet his hero.
Most definitely. Also, what you're seeing there in your picture, security, it has definitely been tight. I mean, there's been quite a bit of, pandemonium, as Ntsako did say, and you can understand it. You know, South Africans are elated to be seeing their heroes. Protocol will, at points, be breached, but we can only but hope that the police understand the significance of this day, that they read the room, and that they do not, of course, add on to the chaos, and that also South Africans do play their part as well and respect, you know, the law, and make sure that they understand that that is a Webb Ellis trophy. It is an incredibly important piece of silverware, and those are incredibly important men that are carrying that trophy and are on that bus, and they need to be protected at all costs. So yes, security is definitely tight. It has been tight since, of course, the trophy tour began in Gauteng, and it'll continue to be as the third leg, the last leg rather, tomorrow in East London happens. But yes, this is the rolling coverage that we're bringing you as eNCA of this trophy tour. The third leg, the boys are, of course, on the trophy bus, on the open top bus, and they're going to be moving through the streets of Durban as they eventually get to the ICC, the Durban ICC, where they're going to be meeting the Premier, Nomusa Dube, as well as the eThekwini Mayor.
And hats off to the Springboks. I mean, they have taken all of this as hashtag country duty, haven't they? They've sat through the speeches, they've waved, they've smiled, they've brought a lot of energy. And they must be exhausted at this stage. And yet at the same time, they've whipped up some wonderful moments. We've spoken about Siya Dlamini. And then yesterday, as the bus was snaking its way through Langa, there were massive crowds of kids following the bus. And Siya Kolisi was doing an Instagram Live. And then who decided to jump on that Instagram Live? Except the GOAT, Roger Federer himself. And we have this ridiculous situation of Siya Kolisi, Bongo Mbanambi, and Cheslin Colby on this Instagram Live in Langa on the top of the bus. and showing Roger Federer, look how amazing this is. And Roger Federer getting quite emotional being part of it.
Understandably, and this is the same Roger Federer who had the pleasure of being in that dressing room after the World Cup, having been, of course, draped in his Springbok gear, watching the Springboks in Paris last week. He himself is obviously, we have declared that he's half South African, which he is.
His mother's from Kempton Park. It doesn't get much more South African than
so
that.
he, of course, his allegiance is very clear as to where he is. Yes, Swiss, but also South African. So he has been soaking up all of this energy and being in the presence of champions as he himself is a champion. So
he
yes,
loved it, didn't he? You
absolutely.
could see it. He
How
loved
would you
every
not, Marcel?
moment.
How would you not?
And I think it's because, as a tennis player, it's a very a lonely sport.
It is.
You're out there on your own, and to be in a room like that with that energy, with professional sports people who really are at the height of their careers or at the height of the sports, really. I mean, you can't not be impacted by that.
No, most definitely. And especially, why wouldn't you want to be in the presence of people that are walking around, of course, with tattoos on, you know, their most sensitive parts of the body, and men that are just walking around in front of you wearing South African flag speedos. I mean, that is definitely the kind of energy you would want to be with. I mean, 4 years ago, it was Prince Harry who was in that kind of atmosphere. So South Africans just have got that contagious and
we have an inability not to be South African in every moment.
We have an ability to be South African and not South African all at the same time. But yes, we're going to be bringing you all of that rolling coverage. We do have Ntsako as well as Percy and Sipokazi Malinga, who are on the ground bringing you, blow-by-blow coverage of what exactly it is the Springboks are doing on the streets of Durban. We must repeat, I think it's incredibly important that perhaps you're just joining us now, that you must know that Siya Kolisi is not part of that trophy tour, the third leg of it. But if you've been seeing those visuals, that's not deterred South Africans from staying away.
And that really, again, speaks to the strength, and you had this conversation earlier, the strength of the Springbok brand. It's about more than just the individuals, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's how they won the World Cup as well. It was about more than just the sum of their various parts. And that's been a golden thread throughout the story of the Springbok generation.